In this video, I'm going to do a quick VR walkthrough of VR City. Before I do that, I'm going to make one little tweak just so that our interactive elements in the scene are all on the same layer. Right now, our physics raycaster is raycasting to all the layers. I'm just going to change it. So if we come into the main camera and scroll down to the bottom, here's the physics raycaster. Currently, you see it's raycasting for everything. I'm going to just change that to nothing. And then I'm going to come back and change it to just the UI layer. And also the interactable item, which is this shift trigger, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to put it on that UI layer. And the reason I'm doing that is so that I can look through the window of the car and still interact with that item. Now let's make sure that Cardboard Main has its VR enabled. So VR mode enabled. And I don't want the audio. And I am going to maximize on play. And so we can do this with Cardboard first. And you'll see with Cardboard, I'm able to move through the city, turn, go over to the beach. And you see we've got that split eye view. I can come back and look at the city. And of course, I can do the simulated head tracking by holding down the Alt key and moving around doing the simulated tracking. And we have a nice view of the city. Now let's try this with Gear VR. I have built the app for Gear VR and I have the Gear VR headset. And I also have, I'm just going to show you a little controller that I'm using. This little mini wireless Bluetooth gamepad. It's very inexpensive, $5, and I've paired it with the phone and I'm going to be using it to control the character. And I have another app which is called Mirror Op. And I'm using Mirror Op to do the screencasting because it supports JPEG. And I found there's a problem doing screencasting using H.264 using Google's Chromecast. And this is a little bit finicky, so let's see if I can get it going. I'm just going to start the player on my phone, and I'm going to connect to the computer, and I'm going to start playing. All right, you can see there it's starting to play on the computer, and it looks like it's good to go, so I'm going to go back. I've got my build of VR City here. Now don't worry about how I did this build. That's going to be the topic of the next section of this series. I'm going to put it in the headset now. Now I'm just going to scale this down, and this is where things get a little bit tricky. Now I'm going to put the headset on. So in theory, you're seeing what I'm seeing. So there may be a bit of lag, but that's just the way it's going to be with this technology. And now I'm going to start moving forward. And I'm going to move over to the beach. Now what's interesting about this is I'm holding the gamepad forward and I'm actually steering by turning my head. So I'm not using the gamepad left and right. I'm actually, for example, here I'm going to turn my head to the right and then I'm going to turn my head back to the left and I can actually steer using my head. And I'm going to come back to the car and I'm going to show you that I can interact with that item through the window so I can still see through the window. I'm going to take the headset off again. Let me just close Mirror Op. I don't need it anymore. And with that, I'm going to end this video on the virtual reality walkthrough of VR City. And we're going to go on in the next series of videos to see how we can build the app now and deploy it onto a device.